Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today I have an update for you guys on a story we read about a year ago now. This several-parter posted by Marcus Christmas involving his obsessive mother with a hardcore Jocasta complex. I'll give a forewarning that these stories are absolutely revolting and possibly disturbing to some, but if you haven't watched those yet, I recommend you do so first. But without further ado, let's jump into the update. The last stand of the infantilizer. Hey y'all, this should be my final update, and it's a rough one. For all of you who said that my mother would try whatever she could to contact me after her probation was over, you were right. Even after 5 years, she still had not let go of whatever crazy had been floating around in her head, and she was still after me with the same incestuous mentality she had before. My aunt contacted me and told me that my mother was looking to hire a private investigator to find me, since no one in the family would tell her where I was. Fortunately, she was just blowing hot air with that because she couldn't afford a private investigator. Barely any relatives had talked with her other than to do a check-in every now and then just to make sure she was still breathing. They said she was generally just quiet, antisocial, and remorseful. Turns out, she was just biding her time. All that therapy she supposedly went to was just for show. She hasn't changed at all. Actually, no, I take that back. She has changed, just somehow for the worse. She waited for her probation and my restraining order against her to be expired, then she went right back to her lunacy. She started wearing colorful dresses in public that can only be described as a bad bridesmaid mixed with a Disney princess dress. I heard about this because she's almost 60 years old and started to only go out dressed up this way, which is extremely bizarre. So obviously, people were talking about it. Apparently, she spent the last 3 years after prison slowly collecting the dresses and putting up the act of a broken old woman that no one loves, and anyone who saw her said that those dresses were all she wore once her probation was over. To that end, she also went nuts with the keto diet to lose weight this past year. She also cakes her face in makeup and does her hair up in all the ways you'd expect someone in the most extreme denial about their age to be doing. My aunt sent me some photos of her, and it was far worse than how she looked on my 21st birthday. Imagine a thin Disney version of that woman from the Drew Carey show who caked her face in makeup every episode. That's the infantilizer. My mother may not know where I live anymore, but she knows which state I'm in, and also believed I couldn't be too far from my dad. My mother was threatening to go to my state and literally look everywhere for me. Imagine an old woman dressed in full-on Disney princess in the middle of a city, passing around photos of me from nearly a decade ago and asking people where I am. I can only imagine the creepy shit that would have come out of her mouth, so I wasn't about to let that happen. I spoke with several family members, and we mutually agreed that the only way my mother wouldn't come running her Disney princess ass to my state to try and find me would be to speak with her myself in advance. I know a lot of you are probably mentally screaming, "Don't do it! She's a psycho!" Well, you're not wrong, but at the same time, I'm sick of running. My aunt helped me arrange to speak with my mother over Skype. My mother was apparently so giddy with excitement that she legit soiled herself and had to go change before we could talk. My aunt was with her on the other end and was ready to jump in if things got too crazy. The video call connected, and when we first saw each other, my mother didn't recognize me at all. She just asked who the big hairy guy in front of the screen was. I have a beard now, and the first words out of my mouth were to sarcastically say, "You were expecting Prince Charming?" Shout out to Shrek for that line. She recognized my voice right away and started crying. She was whining and asking me what I'd done to myself. I said I grew up. No thanks to her. My aunt played peacekeeper and calmed everyone down. My mother had to wipe away a lot of her makeup due to her tears making it run. And then she wanted to be excused to go redo it. I said I wasn't waiting for that. I don't give two shits about how she looks, and we either talked right then or not at all. She whined that she wanted to look good for me, and I told her there was nothing she could do to look good for me, which made her cry some more. Initially, my girlfriend was not visible, but the second my mother realized she was there, she became super irate, and I could tell she wanted to say something damning. However, she managed to stop herself herself before saying anything worse than, "What is she doing there?" I told her we still live together. I love her, and we may even one day get married. I want to grow old with her. My mother flopped over onto her couch crying and acting like a sad diva. She then shouted out, "But I already am old, and I'm alone." I said that meant nothing to me, and to calm down, or I was ending this call and we'd never speak to each other again. She took a moment to calm down, and my aunt got her a small keto ice cream from the freezer. She kept weeping that she's old until she finished all of the ice cream. When she was done, she just threw the ice cream tub away, got eerily calm, and said she was ready to talk again. We had some mundane conversations back and forth for a while. She tried to keep asking me intimate details about my life, where I work, and where I live. I of course refused to answer, and told her that she's not allowed to have any of those details after she stalked me and tried to frame me. She cried out that that was 5 years ago, and begged me to look past it. I said that she was incredibly lucky that I was even speaking to her at all after all the shit she's done, to which she went back to crying. It was petty of us, but my girlfriend and I wanted to see just how unhinged my mother really was. I knew that she was barely keeping herself in check. We waited for just the right opportunity, and my girlfriend leaned in and gave me a kiss on the lips. My mother got this very creepy, wide-eyed look on her face and actually said, "I wish you'd let me kiss you like that too." Everyone went silent. My aunt, who'd been playing peacekeeper, looked like she was about to vomit. I said, "That's it. I'm done. You haven't changed at all." My girlfriend hugged me to comfort me, and my mother lost her shit at that and started screaming. That's when I slammed the laptop closed and shut it off. My aunt, on the other end, had it very rough. After I hung up, my mother started attacking her like a lunatic, and the police had to be called. My mother ended up in a psych hold because she attacked the police too. They arrested her after shooting her with pepper spray, and she was admitted into a psych ward. She's already been in there for a few months now and has been deemed a danger to herself and others. After being locked up, my mother started threatening self-termination if I didn't come to see her. My aunt was initially the only one who went to visit her and was made my mother's legal power of attorney somehow. I don't know the ins and outs of how, but I don't care either. I'm just relaying what I know. My aunt has told me that my mother seems truly broken now. They have her under constant watch, and she wants to die. She's stopped crying for me, but spent a lot of time in serious denial because she was convinced I would come for her. Then, of all people, my dad visited her. My mother was not happy to see him. I don't know what was said between them, but I heard he savaged her and set her straight. I think he's held those words in for 5 years, because whatever he said had a strong enough impact that she nearly went catatonic. My aunt told me that my mother became more cooperative after that, and stopped crying that Prince Charming hasn't come for her. My dad didn't stick around. He spent about 2 weeks catching up with everyone and headed over to New Mexico. He has a cousin over there and says he feels like being in the desert for a while because the salty air at the West Coast was eating away at his truck and trailer. He also hates seafood. One of my younger cousins on my mother's side, who has a pregnant girlfriend, is moving into my mother's house and will keep up with the maintenance, bills, and taxes for it in exchange for not needing to pay rent. They may be able to stay there as long as my mother is locked up, or until she passes away. Either way, I wouldn't want to live there even if I was willed the house. I just want nothing to do with her. I'm completely indifferent to the fact she's been locked up in a padded cell. She lost any feelings of care I had for her a long time ago. If she ever gets out of there, I'll be applying for another restraining order right away. I and my aunt, though, are fairly confident she'll be locked up for a long time. Maybe for the rest of her life, I hope. This is definitely the worst case of Jocasta complex we've read about to date. Not only is that going on here though, but I'm sure a multitude of other complexes and disorders, which makes it all so much worse. I'll be honest, I'm not sure why OP even bothered to Skype his mother, considering she had no idea what he looked like anymore. And he inadvertently put himself in danger by doing that, because now she does know what he looks like. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt though, and assume that he just wanted closure. I'm glad that his mother is finally where she needs to be, being a psych ward, and I hope OP gets some lifelong therapy himself, because I can't imagine the trauma that this disturbing relationship has caused him. But anyway, that is all from me today. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!